Hey everybody, what is up? This is Nate McAllister. We'll be bringing on my guest, Alex Moss, here in just a second, right when he gets into the room. It's going to be a good webinar. We've got a lot of new features that Alex is going to show off. But for the most part, if you guys are not familiar, this is Tactical Arbitrage, online arbitrage for Amazon FBA sellers. Oh, Hatchie's here. As I was worried. I was wondering if he was going to come.
All right, we're getting on near the start of the time now.
The magic of Christmas. Hatchie's come to life.
Who's in the house? We got Monam, Alan, Bridget, Dana, David, Dutch, Jason, Jody, Joe, another Joe, Jonathan, Carrie, Kay Thomas,
Ted,
Larry, Leslie, and Mashika, and Paul, and Paula, and Scott, and Spencer, and Sue, and
Is it Yanni or Laurel? M Coupon 33. That's a throwback a couple months ago.
Yeah. All right. My Hatchie model has had to go home for the day, so he just said goodbye, and that's Kent. He's left the building. We're going to showcase some new features today, which will be cool.
A lot of new features.
I've got so many new features, I had to print out a list so that I can go through them and go, okay, we got this one and this one and this one. Don't forget that one and don't forget that one. And
yeah, it's going to be sweet.
We want to sort of pump through them all, because even if we spend a few minutes on each of them and field a few questions along the way, it's going to be difficult keeping this under an hour. But it's exciting. New things are exciting. My car's got a bit of an update. My car has got an update feature where every so often I'll get this pop-up on the screen and it says, hey, we've released an update to the software for your vehicle, and now your car can do this. And so I always love those days. And so that's what I try to aspire to as well, to always make sure Tactical Arbitrage has lots of new features coming, so that if you are a member, it stays exciting for you and becomes more and more useful to you and your workflow.
I wish my car gave me updates. My car just tells me when I'm out of gas. I need to change my oil. All right. Okay, Alex, let's get going. There is a replay, so everybody that registered, if they didn't see this, we're not really taking questions so much today. We're going to basically be going over these new features. We're going to keep it to an hour. We're going to end at about 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time it is in Australia, Alex. It's morning time there, right?
11 a.m., so it's going to wrap around about the time I can go downstairs and grab a bite to eat for lunch.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that Alex gets out of here in time for lunch.
In the beautiful, warm Queensland day. Nice and hot, summertime here.
Yeah, I cannot say the same. There's not the same weather here in Columbus, Ohio. All right, but Alex, let's go ahead and get started, guys. I will send out a couple of, I promise some discounts and stuff. I'll send those out in an email to everybody who registered. I won't detract from the show today. If you're watching on YouTube, this is Alex Moss showcasing December 2018 new features within the Tactical Arbitrage platform. This is good stuff, guys. If you have questions, feel free to ask them, but we cannot promise that they're all going to be answered. We're going to try to plow through the features, and then we will see where we're at. Alex, let's go ahead. What's feature number one, my friend?
Feature number one, this feels like a BuzzFeed list here, actually.
Yeah.
What are the top 15 features?
10 features Kim Kardashian doesn't want you to know about.
Well, let me first start by saying I'm trying to squeeze in as many as I can possibly get before 2018 closes. But the list of stuff that's coming in 2019 will blow this away again. So if you think that these ones are cool, you ain't seen nothing yet. But I think we'll start with one. I'll start with the two features that are actually already released, so that you can have a look at those straight away. And then I'll talk to you about the ones that are unreleased that I can show you my screen, and then you can have a look at kind of what we've got going on in the lab, ready to release and roll out, I think, over the next week. I wanted to get them out before this webinar, but there's still a few little tweaks and things. I don't like to release anything that's not quite perfect. So the two features that are released already, though, are the newbie look, and we released that a few weeks ago now, and the new stock count feature in Tactical Edge. So I'm going to just share my screen, probably the best way. That will probably prevent me from seeing some of the chat. So if you see anything in the chat or you want to shout out to me, Nate,
yep,
let me know. If you're new to Tactical Arbitrage, by the way, you can jump in and sign up using Nate's code, which is ER10, and that will give you an extended 10-day trial instead of the usual 7-day trial. And you just apply that code when you're doing the checkout procedure, and that way you've got a bit longer to sort of play around with it. But Nate can probably mention that again before the webinar wraps, in case you forget. So let me share my screen. Share a window.
How many of you have already gotten a feel for the new newbie look and everything? Go ahead and comment over in the comments if you've already used the newbie look and like it. I'm going to comment. Love it.
The newbie look is a very simplified version for people who are new to Tactical Arbitrage. And by default, when you very first start a Tactical Arbitrage membership, it is on by default. So it just eases your way into the software. This is the advanced page that everybody who's been using TA for a very long time now is well and truly familiar with. And up at the top of the page is the little toggle switch here, which says advanced and basic. It did say advanced and newbie, which is why I still call it the newbie look in the back rooms here. But really, the public name for it is basic look, advanced and basic. So I'm going to switch that across to basic now. And it definitely is a lot simpler. So you've got a bit of an instruction here saying select a domain to search. And there are a lot of domains here. And you can drill that down further by selecting just a alphabetized starting letter. And you've got all your options here, the House, the North Face, ThinkGeek, Tiger Direct, etc. And you may choose target. And we'll go and select a category. Now this is actually borrowed from the advanced easy bulk feature. It's just the first selector, so it doesn't let you drill into the very specific category that you're looking to search. It just gives you like an overview. So you wanted to search, say, target toys, for example. You go target, you'd select toys, apply. You type your discounts in there. And oh, here's another feature we just added the other day too. I almost forgot about this one. You can name the search as well. So I'm going to name this one Target Toys. And in case I've done that before, I might name it December 7th, 2018. All right. And what you'll put in here is, let's say you know your store discounts, for example. Maybe it's a 20% discount on board games this particular sale, or on toys, and might be a 6% Ebates voucher, etc. You put all that stuff in there. You put your prep costs in there, and then you just hit search. Right, so the newbie or the basic look is now very, very simple. Now we've mirrored this across in simplicity to the view data page. And you can see over here that at a glance, you can see what's going on. You can compare products, you can look at the keeper chart. Now this is particularly good. Forget the fact it's called basic for a moment. This is particularly good if you're using like an iPad or something, because this is all going to fit in one little screen, depending on the iPad model that you've got. So obviously with the advanced view, and feel free to play around, toggle backwards and forwards, do what works for you. With the advanced view on an iPad, there's a little bit of side-to-side scrolling going on. It can get a little bit column management-y. You're going to have to turn on and switch off columns to try and make that entire experience nicer for you. However, it's much easier now with the basic view. You can just jump on in and start using that. Now, we've already had some people come in and give us some advice on how to improve this. We get a lot of community feedback, and some of the feedback was to add in the additional UPC item here, to add in the adjusted costs up here. There's a few little things we can do. A sort by being not just added, sort by return on investment, sourced by match quality. Also, we were asked for sort by rank. I've got to put that in there. There's a few additions coming to the basic look, but this is the version 1.0 of it that we were happy to release. And you can guarantee that this time, a few months from now, this page will have transformed again to, it's got to sort of be in that sweet spot where it remains not overly complex to satisfy the basic nature of the page. So we can't put every feature suddenly back in here that's on the advanced page, or it defeats the purpose. However, if there is anything sort of critical missing, we're listening to people on that so that we can make sure that we cover those bases without making the page overly complex. It's all about finding that sweet window. So that is the basic look. Now, the basic look currently exists in product search, view data, reverse search, and view reverse. The saved data pages, the wholesale page is kind of its own little thing here where you import your manifest very simply and run a search. You've also got it in view wholesale. And now the pages that end up getting the least love, and there's going to be a lot of attention addressed to that very early next year, are flips and libraries. So flips and libraries still need to have those pages made for them. Library will also be getting multiple search at once. At the moment, of course, you can run up to 10 searches at once for product search, a combination of product search, reverse search, and wholesale searches, and you can really max out those searches. There's library, there's some tweaks to be made to integrate that into those searches, but it looks like we can do it after we've done some analysis. So library will also be getting some additions there as well. So anyway, that is the basic look. Now, I'm going to show you now the next feature, which is the new Tactical Edge stock count feature. Now, the number of sellers on this particular product here, for example, is 81 sellers. So I'm going to jump it into a Tactical Edge. Now, traditionally, this page would all show, and it would only show you if the stock counts were under 10. Now, what we discovered that with a lot of finagling in the back room, we could get the additional stock counts. Now, this goes a long way towards letting you know basically what you should price your product at. So if we've got this guy here is $16.76, and for some reason we're having trouble getting his stock count. So we didn't get his stock count, which is not great in a live test, but we've got everybody else's stock count except the first guy who I needed to mention. Well, these things happen. We'll check that again, or I'll just check this next guy here. Okay, so he's got a buy price of $7.03. Now, normally, of course, you'll be looking at somebody with a much higher bracket, and you might just be deciding that you wanted to price higher than that, but it's going to depend on who's kind of in the way. So you can see that Amazon's in the way with $7.03. Now, they've got a capped limit per customer, so we can't actually see in this particular instance. It's good to know that somebody's capped. It certainly tells us something, but we can't see in this particular instance whether they've got 3 of these or whether they've got 3,000 of these. I can see on the keeper graph they do sell out sometimes, but they haven't sold out for over a month, and I would assume that you would not want to price much higher than them, anticipating that they are going to sell out, because they are capped. However, in many cases, you might find that you've got somebody here who's just got 1 or 2 in stock, that there's no limits on them, and then there might be like a $2 jump to the next person. And in that particular scenario, there's no point getting into a race to the bottom. This additional information that you have here is going to make it much easier for you to understand that if the estimated sales for a product, let's say the estimated sales for this item is 2,542 products a month. So if we knew this guy only had 4 items left in stock, then by the time you've even purchased this product and got it into your house to start prepping it, this guy's going to have sold out. So that's going to affect your pricing when it comes time to sending this into Amazon. If you know this guy's only got a few, and this guy's only got 1, this guy's only got 1, this guy's only got 4. If Amazon's sold out, then we're pretty much able to price closer to position 5 with no drama. He's only got 24 of them himself. With estimated sales of 2,500, I mean, I would look way up here. This guy here, 1,282. He's kind of our major sticking point once we get Amazon out of the way. And that tells me if Amazon wasn't there, I'd be like, don't price this at $7. Have a look at your estimated sales. Have a look at the others that are in your way, and then have a look at where you want to sort of price yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and price myself at $14.49 alongside this guy. Better still, this guy's merchant fulfilled. So let's add a little bit more to that. Let's go up to say $16 or $15.50, $16-ish. And now we've got ourselves a price point that I'm interested in. So here's one of the reasons why I only set a return on investment for 1% when doing my searches. I look for anything with an ROI of greater than 1%, because the difference between this first seller here, which is, this isn't actually a great example because this is a negative ROI, but this is negative 85% ROI. But the difference between this guy here at negative 85% and this down here where we were thinking about pricing, this guy's actually positive ROI 4%, and we were going to price higher than him. So if Amazon wasn't in the way, we're talking about close to an additional 90% ROI just by doing the additional analysis in Tactical Edge. Now, I would always look at Tactical Edge, particularly with this additional information, now that we have this here. And one of the features I want to show you is how we've made Tactical Edge even easier to use so that you can make it a better part of your flow. So they're the 2 first features that are already released. The 3 first features, if you take into account that in the Search Manager, you can now name a scan, and you can actually see that scan that I named earlier, Target Toys, December the 7th, 2018. Search Manager is the page where you'll also go in and decide to rename this, etc. You might want to rename this to Target Toys Christmas or Xmas 2018. Right, and then if you go across to see this in View Data, you'll see that you are watching Target Toys Christmas 2018. So it all kind of ties in together. What you've renamed over here will, or what you've named it in your product search will now tie in here. Now, if you're working with virtual assistants, it's now become a hell of a lot easier. Instead of saying, please refer to process 246759991, now you can just say, please refer to process Target Toys Christmas 2018 and check the tactical edges on those and give us an idea of what we're going to price those at, or you assign your tasks to them with greater ease. Now the labeling process is there. Now all those features that are already released. So you've got a more simplified way of searching, a more simplified way of seeing the data. You've got a more simplified way of sorting the data with the naming protocols, and you've got a better way of actually analyzing stock levels and helping you set your pricing. All those things alone, but wait, there's more. All those things alone should significantly improve your experience with tactical arbitrage compared to 6 months ago or a year ago or whenever, however long you've been with us. If I was a newbie wanting to start out with any software right now, I want it to be a no-brainer to use tactical arbitrage over other softwares, because not only are we doing this, but we're also listening and adding more things all the time. Now, before I jump into the as yet unreleased features, Nate, are there any questions there or comments that I need to respond to?
No questions really. Mashika had a question about pricing, but I kind of was answering it in the comments. There was one comment about, Scott says, I want to click on the store icon like Target in the basic filter section to be taken to the actual store website. He might want to do that to see the categories or something.
No, I totally agree with him. And in our user tests, my own tests, I should say, that was something that was bugging me that I couldn't do myself. We made the whole page, we designed the whole page. We get the developers to make the page, and then we make it, check the functionality. It all works perfectly. We send it live, and then one day I'm just sitting there trying to do some scans myself for some reason, and I think I just want to pop across to Ace, and then I realize that there's no little button there to let me go across to the site. So that is on my list, and I'm just going to note that down again so that it's got greater visibility for me. And thank you for reminding me of that.
See, Scott, this is why people should come to the webinars. Who knows? Sometimes a feature gets added just from a webinar comment.
On basic search, add link to site. Yeah.
Not like it's that easy for Alex to just put a change in like that, but
it's not super hard. It's not super hard. I mean, we've probably just got to put a little icon just in this little bit of empty space here. So when you've actually selected it, then there's also the little button here to just open it in a new tab. It's literally something we could do within a day, providing we didn't have 50 other things in the way of it. But I'm going to put it into the queue, and it'll get done before too long. You'll just see it there one day. So let me go to my list. This is exciting for me because we've been working really hard, and a lot of this stuff's not released yet for various reasons, mainly because we have websites where we test everything, and sometimes things bottleneck until it could be one particular feature that holds up 6 others that are all ready to go. And that sometimes happens where the features stack a little bit while we're just waiting for that one extra one to get fixed to our satisfaction. And then the entire collection is good to go as a pocket. Now, if we're onto it, we can normally, get one out, approve it, and then send it out, and then do the next one. But sometimes they collapse into each other, and they sort of hold each other up a little bit. But they are all coming very, very soon. Here's one that I like. It's a little fun one. It's a pagination change. So normally to just get across from page to page, you'd utilize your buttons up here. But sometimes you want to skip ahead 30 pages, and just using these arrows over and over is tedious. So just being able to put in here 30, and I hit the enter button and jump straight to page 30 in these results will make things a lot easier for power users. Will immediately see that as an improvement. Now, I've added this feature to both advanced and basic, and that'll be coming soon. It's also kind of smart. If I change the number of results per page to say 100, then this should adjust, and I should be able to just say show page 5, for example. Because we're using Zoom webinars, it always does this. It kind of affects my page loads and things, but I guarantee you it'll work completely perfectly on the main page. So that's a little cool feature, the pagination little box there, and that's going to be on every view data page and basic page, making searching better all round. Now, the next thing I will search to show you is country drop downs for Tactical Edge. Now, you'll notice on the dashboard here, this isn't actually the dashboard that you're seeing at the moment. Once again, this is on one of our development servers. You'll see down the bottom of the dashboard, you've got the option to change the countries, the sourcing from country and the selling at country. Now, for many people, they never change it from USA to .com, so they may not sort of see the advantages in this. But for some people, and there's quite a few who sell on multiple platforms, being able to jump around and switch the countries is very useful. So sourcing from the United Kingdom to sell on Amazon, for example, is something that people will be doing. But the reason why we want it on this page as well is because it affects your product variations and tactical edges. So we want to basically, in this instance, find a product for, say, £5 from England, and the ASIN for it is, let's just find any old ASIN. I've got an ASIN I've just grabbed from another window, Tactical Edge, and let's fetch the information. So it's doing that cross-country compatibility there. It's supposed to go directly to the search. So once again, this is one that's currently just about ready, but not quite ready.
Risa says that it would, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It would be nice if the variation items were linked directly to the Amazon specific ASIN page. So it actually took you to that ASIN rather than the main parent ASIN. You know what I'm saying?
So on the product variation page?
Yeah, she says for items with variations, would be nice to be able to go directly to amazon.com/gp/offer-listing/ASIN, where you can see the exact variation rather than the basic www.amazon.com/dp/ASIN. That was all very good to say.
You better paste that to me in a private chat later so that I can.
Yeah, she's basically saying she wants it to link directly to the variation, to specific, child ASIN rather than the parent.
I think I understand what's being said, and I've noticed that when I'm using Tactical Edge lately, particularly now it's become significantly more useful, I keep wanting to jump across and compare to the offers page here, and the way we've got it set up, and I'm only criticizing myself here, but the way we've got it set up is this is going to open this main page, and I believe that we either need to also add the link to the offers page here, or make it only go to the offers page, this particular link up here. So shout out if you agree with me that maybe this should go directly to the offers page, and I will look at making it happen. Because personally it bugs me that that's not what it does, but I'm not 100% sure if that ties in with everybody's flow. So I was going to add an additional link, but if you think we should just make it just link to the office page, I'll switch it.
Paul says the country variation at the bottom of the dashboard does not appear at the bottom of my page.
No. So like I said, this is only happening in a development server right now. Every feature that I show you right now, aside from the first three I showed you, are not actually live yet on the main site. These are all features about to be released that, due to the magic of the way we have our server set up, I'm able to show them to you because I can see them, but they're not live yet because we're still working out some very, very final bugs. For example, selecting the ASIN and the price in Tactical Edge should directly open the Tactical Edge page. One little bug we're just ironing out right now is when I hit the Fetch Information button, it's bringing up this interim page here rather than going directly to the page. So all these little tweaks and fixes need to be just finalized before I make these live. Now, one other really cool thing that I've done here on Tactical Edge, and this is part of the same feature, I'm not stealing a feature off you here, this is part of what I consider to be the same feature, is the Check Another ASIN button now doesn't really pull you away from this page. So what we do is we get this pop-up, and so let's just go USA to USA, and isn't that cool how we can just switch that there and it changes the little currency symbol. I like that little tiny thing. So simple things, I'm a simple man. So we go paste ASIN and we put in a $5 there. And I like this little feature I put here, which is just you can either open it in the exact same window, or if you don't want to lose what you're looking at here, you can pop it open into another window. So I want Tactical Edge to become more of a part of your flow, because I feel like it's never been easier to determine your pricing points than by utilizing something like Tactical Edge, inserting the ASIN and working with it there. Now, you might have other ways to get like stock counts and that kind of thing, or other extensions, etc. That's fine too. And it's probably another reason why I should link the title page directly to the offers page. But it's all about sort of, making sure you have all the tools available at your disposal. And you certainly get a lot more information here with Tactical Edge than you ever got before. So that is Tactical Edge's new features for now. There's even more stuff coming to Tactical Edge. one feature I won't be touching on today, but will be coming soon, is these keeper graphs here will be replaced. I can't really get into what they'll be replaced with, but it will be a keeper graph, put it that way. It'll just be heaps more fun and more interactive. It'll be basically a keeper graph version 2.0. So keep an eye out for that. That's coming here. And all going well, that'll be coming to the view data pages as well in the near future. But that's not one of the features.
Miguel says, what was the Chrome extension that Alex mentioned? For stock levels, it wasn't an extension. It's just a new feature, right, where you can actually see the in-stock levels now within Tactical Arbitrage. Before, you'd have to use a tool like How Many or something, but now it's going to be right there.
Yeah, some people still like to use some Chrome extensions on the pages and whatnot as well. Other people like to stay completely within the software in-app. We've totally made it possible to completely stay within the software if you like. But I'm just saying that if you do have other tools as well, this collaborates nicely now. So,
Lem Turner is afraid that the hummingbird behind you is going to stand up like in the movie Saw and possibly harm you.
Yeah, well, alert me if that happens.
We're keeping an eye on it. I can't see the full name. SAU ... says the blue line is representing the lowest new cost, but doesn't take into account merchant fulfilled shipping. This line is what is being pulled for the averages in TA. Is there a way to have the average apply to the buy box history? Basically, the average sale price over 30 or 90 days. Is that kind of
okay? So that's an additional feature again, but I know what you're trying to say. If I was to click on this through to Keeper, and let me do that right now. So I can see on here that in this particular instance, the blue line does represent the buy box because the pink dot is not deviating from the blue line. Now see this pink little diamond? It's probably hard to see it as a diamond on a share screen, but this is actually telling us what the buy box is. And it is not as live a data point or a data metric. Keeper can't get this anywhere near as often. And for us to even ask Keeper for this data, it adds an additional 5 seconds to the request. So we can't put this as a live metric inside Tactical Arbitrage. It's certainly something we could add to Tactical Edge though. And what we would have to do is just have a extra keeper data button here. So if somebody really wanted that extra keeper data, they could just click on that and it would bring it in here. Or of course you can just click through to Keeper and see all this information here as well. But I know what you mean. In this instance, the blue line, actually it's Amazon price is holding the buy box there. But in some cases, the pink diamond is above the blue line because it's merchant fulfilled and it doesn't include the shipping, whereas the buy box actually does include the shipping. So we could draw another line through that, but in reality, if we are going to do another graph, we're probably just going to put these exact same points where Keeper has the points and just make sure that they're included in our advanced variant on the graph if we do that. See this interactivity all here where you can mouse over and you can see all this cool information. You can see the new off account as well, all this stuff. Just remember that when we've done the next upgrade, because you might see some cool things like that coming. I didn't really want to get into that too much today because that feature is very much only 50% complete, and I don't really like to talk about stuff until they're imminently about to be released, because we're not the only people in the space out there these days, and but it is important that we stay ahead of anybody else who may be keeping a keen eye on our advancements. Probably somebody sitting in this webinar right now. Hey, how you going? Nice to meet you. Please don't steal all my ideas. All right, let's go back to the next feature. There's some cool stuff coming out. There's one actually that I can't show you right now because the development branch is not active, but I can show you kind of what it's supposed to be. If I go product search.
Should we just pull up the whiteboard? You can draw it on here. We have never used that feature live.
I can show you here. See how this is quick search, single or up to 100 ASIN? People use that a lot to just quickly reverse search a product. So just very, very briefly, we're adding that to wholesale as well. So sometimes you just want to have a look at the basic Amazon data for a product, and you don't really want to have to import a CSV to do that. You'll be able to just drop in 50 ASINs there. That feature is actually already complete as well. That'll be getting released at the same time as all of the other features. So this little quick search up to 100 ASIN box will just be, it's just a convenient little addition to wholesale that nobody's really asked me for, but I can't see anybody complaining about it being there, that's for sure. I've needed it myself, put it that way. All right, the next feature is add the checkbox row to both sides of all tables. Okay, in advance, it is a long scroll these days, especially since we're adding more columns all the time. It is a long scroll from left to right. And to get all the way to the other side and then decide you need to mark something, it'd be good if the checkboxes were on this side as well. So let's put them over here too. So whatever we do over here is going to get mirrored all the way over here as well. It talks to each other. So if I put a note over here saying this is a test, and I save that here, and then I come all the way over here, it's going to be here as well saying this is a test. So both sides of the view data page now will have this column, and that just makes things a little bit nicer and more fun. Adding the dimensions and weight data in a mouse over. See under the in the product size column where it says say large standard size, being able to mouse over this and see the height, length, width and weight in both imperial and metric is a nice little extra bit of information that you can utilize when thinking about or visualizing the product or imagining how that's going to go when you're packaging things up. So that information is now there as well.
It was nice of you to not just make it metric, like a passive-aggressive way.
Yeah, like I'm just going to like spearhead the campaign to change USA over to metric.
I think it would, for the greater good.
I will never understand the imperial system. How many furlongs to a far? I don't know. Okay, no worries. We got through those couple of features nice and quickly. I'm gonna need to close some pages here to get to the next one. Oh, okay, here's one. So in the settings page, there's going to be an accounts tab. Now on the accounts tab, you can change your name, your email, your password. There'll be a link to update your billing. We're still integrating billing change in app, but it'll be a very simple like button to just get you straight there. If you are utilizing a credit card that may be expiring and you wanted to change the billing on that, that should be more simple than it ever was before. Certainly be simple for my admin staff, Julie and Chris, who do a fantastic job. They're currently getting asked, where do I change my billing? And it would be much easier if we just say, in the settings page. Now, to add to that, we're just adding a little drop down up here, which takes you to the account as well, which takes you to this exact tab as well. There's also the ability in here, and this is a pretty big one. This is change membership. Now, this was difficult to implement, and for reasons to do with my temperamental membership software. The decisions that you make on day one when you're starting something like membership software, they will affect you for years. So make sure you put all your pieces in place if ever doing anything like this. But we've finally cracked it, I think. So the change membership button should be in there soon. And what it will be like is, let's say you started a trial and you're 3 days into the trial and you think, I started on online arbitrage, but I really would wish that I was in the full suite instead. You'll be able to sort of switch across. And if you're like part of the way through a paid membership for, say, online arbitrage, and you're ready to move up to full suite, you'll be able to change your membership and move upwards. And if you wanted to sort of drop down to a tier or whatever, you'll be able to shift between them essentially anyway, which is a useful feature. And one of the most interesting parts about that is you'll be able to move between monthly and yearly. And we wanted to fix this particular setting before we implemented the yearly tiers. Now, that's going to be soon as well. Now, there's new plans coming as well, so you might want to consider whether you either want to move into the new tiers now, or wait and see what the new plans are if you want to switch any membership tiers later. But those new plans are going to be interesting. They are actually slightly reduced in price. However, they come at a little bit of a feature cost. Currently, you can scan 10 searches simultaneously at once. That's going to drop to almost half, probably around about 6 searches at once. So any power users are not going to want to lose those additional scans. They're going to want to stay grandfathered into the current rate with the current number of scans, because those people will understand the value in utilizing as many scans as possible. But for newcomers, still having 6 different scans at once running is still still very powerful, and probably will satisfy their needs, but at a reasonably more attractive price point. Now, as an additional reward to those members who are going to stay grandfathered at the old prices with the additional scans, we're also going to have additional cache options. So on the product search page right now, you've got cache options that go up to 5 days. Now, you will not have this forever page here. That's only for administration. But we'll be adding 7 and 10 days to this. So you've got double the amount of cache you can work with for those grandfathered users who are prepared to stick with the extra, say, $20 a month or whatever it is, difference by not switching across. But those who are comfortable with the amount of cache days, up to 5 cache days, and with a lower number of simultaneous scans, will now also have a cheaper option. So it's kind of like mobile phone plans. You've got the existing plans with some rewards there to keep that existing plan, and you're going to have the new plans, which are at a slightly better rate, but not maybe quite the same, and you can decide which is for you. So that's coming there. So there's the settings page where you can actually change all that stuff, and also the new plan tiers are coming soon too. This is fun. This is like Christmas. This is the remainder of the 12 days of giveaways. No, not really. It should be, because it's so hard to come up with different giveaways.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe you said 12. We're only on what, 6?
Blame my wife. She saw it on Ellen or something, and she said, "Oh, Ellen does this 12 days of giveaways." I said, "That sounds
Ellen,
like fun."
Nothing good has come from. No, I love Ellen. I would have done it too if I saw Ellen say it. Sue says, "How do I know if I'm in a grandfathered plan or not?"
Well, the new plans don't even exist yet. They're not rolled out yet.
Yeah, so everybody right now is currently grandfathered into the existing ones, right? There are people that know that they're paying less that started like 2 years ago, right? That were way early adopters. But basically everybody's grandfathered in if they're a user now for the new rates, right?
Yes, and everybody will remain on the current plan and the current rate that they are on unless they physically decide to switch to the new plan, which they will be able to do. But it's going to affect a couple of features of theirs, but they will be available to switch to those if they want. But when the new plans are launched, any brand spanking new users off the street who decide to come and utilize Tactical Arbitrage, they're not going to get the option to say, "Hey, I heard about this really cool one where you've got longer cache and 10 scans at once. Can I have some of that action?" I'm going to say, "I'm sorry, no." That plan basically ended close to the beginning of 2019 and is no longer available. Now, one of the reasons for the new plans is essentially 6 scans per person is going to be better for our servers than 10 scans per person. People who have got that locked in 10 scans per person, that's never to be repeated again. So it's also it's also, you need to think long and hard about whether you want to give that up. Part of the additional costs that you're paying in that is also because you're hitting the servers harder than anybody else. A surprising number of people are utilizing that 10 scans like to the max. They're just queuing up. They're queuing up and queuing up and queuing up scans. And our servers have never taken such a beating. However, we have done what we need to do. We've paid the extra costs. We've installed the extra servers. Everything is ticking along as it should to handle the additional load. And it's partly the time of year with Christmas, of course, as well. But we are managing it. We're handling it. But the new plans will be a welcome little cushion for us, for newcomers. And the people who are on existing plans right now can feel smug in the knowledge that they might have something in their own account that people in the future are not able to get their hands on. So it's a little bit.
I'll put that in the bullet points of the sales copy. Smug, entitled sense of smugness. Let's answer a question from the Facebook group. I forgot that we are streaming in the Facebook group. Got 16 people watching there still, so cool. Jacob says hi. Mark says hi. Luis, sorry. Luis. How would you pronounce that, Luis? Whoever. I'm sorry, I've messed it up by now. Could you add on basic view if the item is in stock or out of stock? I don't see that it shows that it does. So basically, it's saying you add another filter onto the basic view data page. But kind of the essence of that is the simplicity of it, right?
Yeah. The in and out of stock, though, I think that's probably a worthwhile.
Can you add to the basic? Can you toggle on and off anything in the basic feature on the view data page?
No, basic is as basic does.
That's what Alex always tells me.
What we could do is, I hate to just sort of segue, because I've got so many mental streams at once and they trip over each other. The best thing you can do with that comment is underneath it, Nate, if you can just tag Julie Steiner, she's going to write that in a message to me later in my task list, and it'll see me, it'll eventually get actioned, and it'll be in there before too long. But I think it's useful, particularly with a feature that I will now talk about, since it's kind of somewhat been mentioned in a way. And this feature is called Report When Stock is Incorrect. Now, sometimes you're searching. See, here's the thing, right? We work with a lot of domains. It's pushing 1,000, and pretty soon it's going to be over 1,000 different domains that we're actually working with collecting data from. And those domains change all the time. Every single one of those online shops have got their own team of developers, and their own team of developers is always deciding to add a new button or change a little thing or change the way that the title works. And things happen, and sometimes websites break. You'll notice that one day suddenly Walgreens isn't working anymore. Well, that's because somebody over at Walgreens has hit some buttons and made life difficult for us, and for a day there's a bit of a scramble while we fix that based on a report. And they're all reported pretty well, so we get most of that kind of information. One of the things that's not reported as well as it should be is when a product is reported as in stock in Tactical Arbitrage, but it's actually out of stock. So we've added this little button here. Now, if I click this button, it's going to say, first it's going to say something that's pretty cool, and I think absolutely needs to be there. It says, hang on a minute, this data is at least 8 hours old. Please update the row first before submitting the report. Now, the reason for that being is that if the item is out of stock now, it might have actually been in stock when we first gave you this result, or you might have run a cached search, a 2-day cached search, and we're getting all that cached data, and the data might be old, and it might be from a time that it was in stock. So just so we don't get a whole bunch of erroneous reports coming through, we want to make sure that you're looking at a reasonably fresh look at the row. So it gives you the option to then update the row. So it'll take a second to then update it. And it actually shifted in this case. It said in stock, it's now not in stock. So if we were to go over to there and find that it was actually in stock, and let's go check that. It does actually say this item is no longer available. So we've detected that correctly, and Tactical Arbitrage has done what it's supposed to. But assuming in this example that this is an incorrect, let's say it says yes still. Let's say it says it's still in stock. And we're all excited. We go, I want to buy this shoe, but we go over here and it says this item is no longer available. Well, now we can send a little report. And I won't click that because if I do click that, my developer is going to get a message that says that this particular product is incorrect. It's going to send them a whole bunch of data about this row. It's going to send them this source page. It's going to tell them what Tactical Arbitrage said, what time it said it, etc., etc., what user reported it, all that stuff, and it'll give them information that they can do to go in and action that so that this in-stock data is kept a lot fresher and a lot cleaner. And I would encourage people to utilize this. There's no reason for you to hit the button. If Walmart has already told you it incorrectly once, there's no reason for you to send 10 Walmart reports because probably the fix that we do is going to fix all of Walmart if that happens. So we don't really need 10 reports on Walmart. But if you sent one in, that's going to be useful to us, and we appreciate that. I think that's just a little cool feature to keep that in-stock information fresh. All right, the next feature I'm going to show. And I know that this is a lot of features, and I've been working till late every single night, just squeaking in as much time for my family as I can in amongst all this. But I wanted to get as many of these features done as possible before the end of the year, because at the end of next week, I go away for a couple of weeks to fulfill a holiday promise that Nate and I had in August, and Nate couldn't come, so I had to reschedule my tickets. So I'm actually taking the family to Hawaii on a holiday that Nate and I were supposed to have.
Not just me and Alex, by the way, guys. I know that that's probably being asked right now amongst yourselves. It was our entire families. Not that either of us are above going just with each other. Totally. No.
Feature number 476,000. Okay, so a little while ago, those in the know will be aware that Amazon made it somewhat impossible to know how many products are in each category. So, for example, let's say in toys, there might be say, I don't know, let's say there's 17 million toys in Amazon.com, the USA Amazon. Now, Amazon started hiding that 17 million number, and all of the lists that were out there about rank and the top 1% of rank, they all became very difficult to quantify. Now, it occurred to me that Keeper doesn't actually keep track of every single Amazon product, but they certainly keep track of a lot, and they do actually count the number of products that they keep track of. So it's a kind of a different metric. So let's say, for example, Keeper has determined that there are 5 million toys that they keep track of at Amazon. Well, the top 10% of Keeper tracked products would be like 500,000. And so you might want to search within the top 10% of the Keeper count of Amazon toys, for example, which would be up to 500,000, or the top 7%, which would be up to 350,000, etc. Now, I'm not a huge proponent on using rank but it is definitely a worthwhile metric, especially when you use the average 30-day rank, and especially when estimated sales is not available. So the very first way you want to be able to determine whether or not an item is selling is honestly to look at the keeper chart, to see those keeper spikes and troughs and actually see. The second thing you want to do is have a look at a software's estimated sales figure and make sure it lines up with that. Now, the estimated sales figure is hopefully and usually, depending on the algorithms, as right as it can be. But nothing's going to be clearer to you than actually seeing those sales rank spikes to determine that a sale's been made over at Keeper. So you want to combine those two pieces of data. And a part of that is that quite often that correlates to a rank, especially a 30-day average rank. So average 30-day rank, I believe, some people say, oh, I never use that metric, but I definitely believe it is a worthwhile metric. And I think we found a nice sweet spot by utilizing the Keeper percentage range. So what we've got down here, and we've added, in this remove ranks, so you can go remove average 30-day ranks, and then you've got a toggle button here. Now, usually you would go into the settings page to set this, but I thought it might be nicer to just stick this straight on the search page, particularly, again, to try and handhold people who are new to tactical arbitrage, but also very useful for advanced users. You may be searching toys and you just know off the top of your head, you just want to search under, say, 450,000, etc. on this particular one, or you might want to refer to your settings. Now, if I go into settings here, and this isn't complete yet because we want to actually make this darker, that's a bit too hard to see for me. So all of these actually do have numbers, okay? You can't really see that. They're going to be darker before it's released. So I can see there by squinting my eyes and peering in closely, and you may not be able to see at home, that the top 10% Keeper product count for arts and craft is the top 392,600. Baby products, 162. It's all pre-populated for you. Books, 4,722,744. Now, you may prefer to look even closer to the top 4%, and they'll all adjust accordingly. They'll say baby products. The top 4% baby products are 65,000 rank and 13. 65,013 rank. Now you can see this heavier one at the top here. Why is appliances heavier? Because that's user override. So I'll go back to 10%, which is what it's going to be for everybody by default. Every country is going to have this. So if you're using settings and you've got it set for Keeper 10%, and you want to user override something, let's say, for example, I've got down here, toys and games, 531,452. But for some reason, you really like outliers. So you want to go 1 million. Oh, how many zeros did I put there? So you want to look at 1 million rank, and then you save that. Then your settings are going to be overridden by this. Now, this is, I think, a really cool feature. Now, one of the reasons this feature was born is because of a flaw in the basic search system. What the basic search system does is it actually sets some settings for you. So what it's currently setting is this. It's currently setting must have at least 1% ROI and must be estimated sales of at least 1. The thing is, we don't have the estimated sales for everything everywhere. For example, we don't have necessarily every single Italian category, every single Australian category estimated sales. All the algorithms aren't there yet. We've obviously got the majority of the most commonly searched ones, but we are getting a lot of customers from Europe as well. And I feel like if I was a brand new Italian customer and I started searching the newbie look, and it was automatically looking for estimated sales of over 1, and then I didn't get very many results or any results, you would get some because Italy does have quite a lot of estimated sales information in there. But let's say, for example, the categories that it didn't, they weren't getting results. They may become disheartened and decide that maybe tactical arbitrage wasn't that useful. So what we're doing instead is changing the metric from, for basic look, minimum 1% and keep a product count top 10%. Now this is in most cases, if it's within these parameters, going to fall within the estimated sales of at least one anyway. And that's where you want to refer to your keeper graph. I've noticed that 10% of 30-day average rank is very, very similar to the bottom end of where we start seeing no sales. So we kind of have that bracket of anything between 0 and 10%, which is very close to. So it's actually more accurate for us to use this for the basic look than it is to utilize that hard and fast estimated sales rule. So this is a lot of back-end discussions that we have, but this is ultimately the decision that's going to filter this sales rank filter values into basic look for all countries. Still be very, very similar when estimated sales is taken into account, but cover more bases. And it's also a preferred metric actually for new users to utilize sales rank filters. I notice that a lot when people just come into tactical arbitrage. They've been told by everybody that sales rank is the be all and end all. As you get more advanced, you start to adjust that thinking, or you augment that thinking with other ways of thinking. But definitely in the early days, rank is a big part of that. And to have this information all pre-populated for you without having to research that is going to be very useful to a lot of folks. So I hope that this feature is fun and handy, and I hope that it is considered useful that I put that right there in the product search page. So that is another cool feature that is coming to Tactical Arbitrage. Are we having fun yet?
David says that is the best feature he's seen all night. Exciting.
Nice. Which David is that? We've got quite a few Davids.
Kreider.
Oh, cool, man. How you doing? But we have more features. Now, a lot of the reason we have so many features coming out now is I hired 5 more developers, and I'm playing it like a symphony orchestra. I'm giving this guy tasks and this guy tasks and this guy tasks, and as soon as this is done, we're testing over here. And I want to keep this momentum. It is more difficult for me. I need the getaway with my family at the end of next week for 2 weeks because it is harder on me. There's longer hours in the office because there's more people to manage. And I'm not yet willing to give away this role of managing the developers, because as soon as I give this away, then my vision for Tactical Arbitrage starts to slowly slip away into not exactly what I had in mind. And I like to sort of allow the developers to do their thing, but I have to micromanage how it ends up rolling out into Tactical Arbitrage. And that's kind of where I've liked to sort of be for the last 3 years, because it's my baby after all. But with all the additional developers and managing as effectively as we are, we've been able to produce this many features in around about 6 to 8 weeks, whereas normally it would probably take us 3 times that long. And we still have 450 features on the list, and some of them are extremely complex. Some of them are simple little things, just like a button on a page, or we do have this new feature that you will have noticed if you just signed up, whereas it'll pop up with this this guided tour, and it actually shows you, it directs you to putting in your MWS keys and things. So I want to put that little guided tour feature on every page. So if you're not really a video guide kind of person, you can actually just select a guided tour for what does this box here do? What does product search box do? And if you select please play that guided tour, it'll just pop around the screen saying, here's where you type in your sourcing. Here's where you type in your website. All that stuff to just help people understand how to utilize it. Because Tactical Arbitrage does have a very strong, fiercely supportive group of members. Anybody, though, who gets past that 1 month learning curve. But people who sign up, sometimes in the first week, they go, oh, information overload, I can't really grasp it. And so they start panicking about, paying past the free trial point, and, a certain percentage of them drops out. So if I can help with retention, then that's better too. So we're all about always adding value, but also I feel like I've been lagging in providing instruction. Now, there is an excellent instructional resource in the, at the moment, I would definitely recommend anybody who's struggling to utilize Tactical Academy, which Nate and Christopher Grant run. It is a paid course, but it is, as far as other paid courses that have entered this space in the past, it is probably one of the best value paid courses that you can get, because value for money, you'll get more out of that about how to quickly get up and running with tactical arbitrage and start generating profit. That'll quickly eclipse the cost of the course than just about any other drip-fed, irrelevant course that's been sort of rolled out amongst many of the Facebook groups that I've seen in the last few years. So, obviously
there'll be a small coupon code for that if anybody's interested in the replay email. If you are watching this in the actual webinar, that means that you provided an email, so you'll get that. You can get a short discount there. So check your email for that if you're interested. But if not, no pressure either. Alex has definitely got a ton of good free videos as well in the Tactical Arbitrage dashboard down there at the bottom left. Oh, it's not on the bottom one, yours.
It's on the right there. My thinking with that is actually, though, that it's nice to have instructional content, but Tactical Academy has a lot of really clever tricks and tips on how to maximize your earnings with. I've heard reports from people that are not just new Tactical Arbitrage users, but even seasoned guys jumping into the Tactical Academy course, and I'm not in any way an affiliate at all. I just think what they've done is great, and I'm a little bit proud that somebody's taken my little project here and they've turned it into something that's I get blown away sometimes about how far it's all come and the different resources that are out there that actually work with it. Another cool one is Tactical Bucket, of course, what Javier San Juan has done with Tactical Bucket that talks to Tactical Arbitrage in such a symbiotic way. It's almost as if they hold hands. I love what he's doing as well. If you haven't signed up to Tactical Bucket and if you're a couple of months into Tactical Arbitrage and you feel like you've got the flow down, you're starting to make some decent money, you're confident that even in quarter one, you're still going to be able to keep some good momentum, even with the Christmas sales dropping off a bit, then I would suggest you start thinking about Tactical Bucket as well for that additional advantage in utilizing Tactical Arbitrage. So there's a few different third-party resources. Tactical Academy is definitely one of those that I recommend. So I'm going to need to get through the next few because it's getting on near lunchtime here, and I've got 3 more features to show. 1, 2, 3, 4 more features to show. All right, we got this one. I'll just keep nice.
Guys, there will, as always, be a replay if you have to bounce out. No foul. There will be a replay for everybody who's in attendance, and eventually there will be a replay on YouTube.
All right, so here's version 1 of this, and as you'll be able to imagine just by seeing this, there's going to be more versions of this, but the basics are in there. The variations column, this particular Walmart shoe, there is 176 variations of this at Amazon. And you can confirm this by just going across to Amazon and basically the sizes times the number of items. It's not just sizes times items though. There's a lot more to it, but there is 176 variations of this. Knowing the number of variations for a product is extremely useful if you are into selling items with variations. Sometimes there's just too darn many variations on something. And anyway, this is, like I said, a version 1.0. There will be option to drill into these variations further in a way that you will hopefully enjoy. Now, there is a couple of icons. That's one feature. There's a couple of icons coming here. One is actually in the middle of being made right now, which is for somebody, for a different third-party tool. If you don't have that third-party tool, no biggie. It's not an icon that applies to you, but if you do have it, it's called BuyBot Pro. It's just a Chrome extension that I think is nice, and this basically just links you directly to the Chrome extension for BuyBot Pro. That little icon's not there yet now, so I won't talk about that much until it's released. But one icon that is there now is going to be when it's released, of course. It's not in your pages right now, but eBay sold. So let's go across to some Target toys here. And I don't know. Let's have a look if we can find Monopoly over at eBay. By clicking on this, it's opening up the sold page. And one of the things that I like to look for, I don't know if I'm going to be able to easily see it. Here we go. And this is what I want to soon capture and integrate. Trending at $21.99 for sale. I like that trending at because I think it gives you a realistic view of what your product could sell for on eBay. Now, on Amazon, I'm seeing this is going to sell for $22.85. So I'm not too concerned about selling it over at eBay. However, unless I want to put a couple of units there and a couple of units here, this eBay icon is basically the very version 0.01 really of what we're going to be doing with tactical arbitrage in the future. But I'm not going to even remotely touch on that conversation right now, nor will I be goaded into answering questions about it. But let's just say that for now, you'll be able to see the eBay sold page with a simple click of a button for an item that you're considering selling on Amazon. A few bundles there too, and I don't want to talk about the bundle thing either, but there is a bundle thing coming, which is going to be insane. I've never been as excited about a feature as the bundle thing, and I'm not going to tell you too much about that because I could talk about the bundle thing for half an hour, and it'll be its own page in Tactical Arbitrage. It'll talk to some of these other pages. It'll be very, 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 very cool. And when you sometimes see a bundle in a row in Tactical Arbitrage, trying to find one now. There was one a minute ago. That's actually not one. That one looks like a bundle. So when you see a bundle, instead of going, oh no, that's not a match, you'll be excited because you'll be like, send to the bundleizer, and you can start having fun with it. So that's a feature that I can't really talk about yet, but we are working hard on that. There's one developer dedicated entirely to it, and I'm pretty excited by the progress, but it's too premature because I don't really want people asking me about it in 2 weeks or 4 weeks when it's more likely 6 to 8 weeks away.
Are you married to the bundleizer name? Because you did not consult with me about a better pun name.
Why? What's a better pun name?
I mean, I just right. You know, I'm on the spot now, but there's a lot.
Do you have
sure.
a humble
just
bundle name?
I don't know. Give me like 24 hours. I'll have like 8 on your desk.
All right. Well, that's a teaser anyway, and it should be exciting to those who are playing in that space. There is another feature that is coming out.
Here, let's yeah, keep going. I was gonna say there's a couple of kind of questions.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Oh, I've got an Alexa in my office, and when I say Alex, she heard that as.
Man, we had to pretty much stop. We had to pretty much switch to Google Home because we had a similar kind of an issue.
You can rename it to Echo or Amazon, but it's not the sound. It's not the same. And Bundle Genesis is epic, almost too epic. All right, the email sales pricing will be important for us. Blah, 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 what else? There was one. Will you gentlemen also discuss Q1 as promised? Did we promise that?
We're gonna get into Q1, which I can do. Then I'm gonna need to take a designated bathroom break soon. But I'll just finish the features off, and then we'll have a little discussion about Q1. So the remainder of the features are, and there was a lot, so it's taken a while. So we've gone over the hour already. So feature number one, nice and simple. Some people were hitting the set order to default button because we had the save button up here for column visibility. And they were messaging me going, no, I went to save it and I set it to default because normally the save button would be expected to be down in the bottom right corner of something. I went, aha, you're right. So we moved the save button down here. And we also made a pop-up when you go set order to default saying, are you sure you want to set the order to default? So accidental bumps should be less. It is a small feature, but it'll save us a certain amount of annoyances. Now, the next feature, and this barcode switch here needs to be moved over to here. But if I switch that on, you'll see these barcodes here. And RA guys, I posted something on Facebook the other day. I said, who's going to find this useful? Some people said they weren't sure they could see use for it. Other people said they could definitely see use for it, that they'll simply scan items directly into inventory labs directly off their screen using a scan gun, etc. I know retail arbitrage people sometimes go into a shop with a scan gun in their pocket and tactical arbitrage on a laptop or their phone. So, you know, I thought it's not going to be for everybody, but I do want it there. So the switch will be off by default, but it's going to be there if you need it. So that's another feature.
That's sweet.
It's cool. I dig it. I like to see those little barcodes there. It was fun making them. We had to put in pull up a pretty crazy API to make that work, and it was temperamental, but we got through it. Now, I also wanted to sort of just show you a little bit about what the new homepage of Tactical Arbitrage is going to look like, although it is still being done. This is not live yet, but it was time for Tactical Arbitrage to get a makeover. You know, this is all very much sort of end of the year, beginning of 2019, a fresh look, a fresh paint job kind of thing. And it's nearly complete. So there's a fair bit of cool.
I noticed some Apple devices up there at the top.
Oh yeah, I need to
yeah, that's perfect. I'm glad you decided to come around.
Never.
They do look better though. You can admit that, right?
There's Cherry Yazzie. All right, so this page is currently being completed, and it's about me finding time. Like we're always doing. We've got wearing so many hats at once in a day that sometimes I walk out of a day and think, did I even move forward by 0.5%? But then it feels glacial sometimes, but then suddenly a whole bunch of stuff's ready at once. So we're getting close to this. We've almost finished the explainer videos for the top of the page here. We're making new videos. This pricing page I've just had redone because I didn't like the look of that. So now it's going to look like this.
Ooh, nice.
It's going to have the monthly and the yearly plans selectable. It's just a little bit sexier, and
it is sexier. I like the pink one is great. No.
It is my favorite tier, by the way. You know, it is. It seriously is. I think it is I like Amazon flips. So personally, I utilize and would enjoy utilizing Amazon flips and use book sales as well. I think it's great. But I think for the person who aspires to do as much as they possibly can with tactical arbitrage, and they don't want to limit themselves to just OA, they also want to explore their opportunities in the wholesale market, even if they're not quite ready for it yet. My favorite tier of all is this little pink bird here, the Online Arbitrage Plus Wholesale. Now, keep in mind, these prices here are still the current prices. So
Ganny wants you to click on yearly. Give him a little peek of the yearly price.
I haven't put the price. It's going to say the same thing. Like if I press
$1 million.
That is not.
Oh wow, that's a good.
Don't grab a screenshot of that and say, look at Alex Moss's new yearly pricing.
You can get a year for the same price as a month.
So this is once again not live.
You know what's one thing that we forgot to cover now that you mentioned flips was how awesome the quantity is when you're checking for Amazon flips, right? Because you're trying to when you're buying from somebody else, you want to see if you can get them to go out of stock, right?
Yeah.
So the Amazon flips just got a serious little boost there as well.
Yeah,
we should have hit on that a little bit at the beginning. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't even think about that until just now. But I love it, dude. It looks awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot coming, and there's a lot that's in the list that's waiting to come. And there's a lot of like one of the things about releasing new features is people see your features and say, "Wow, it looks great. Can you add this to it?" And so we have to kind of cycle back into it. We can't just stop our current flow to just suddenly do the new suggestion. But we definitely get new feature requests from the features that we make. There's some other major ones that I haven't even mentioned. There's Google Drive import export coming as well. So if you don't want to import the CSVs, let's say you want to keep a bank of CSVs that you import regularly, like in one Google Drive folder. It's kind of handy for you to actually just hit the Google Drive button and just import CSVs from there. We have some column sorting work going on at the moment, which is basically if you hit the return on investment, sort by return on investment, we need it to really sort by return on investment. I'm going to come back to you. We need it to really sort by return on investment, like by default, not like from highest to lowest, not lowest to highest. We want to make it, and we're working on it now, that if you edit price, if you've sorted by return on investment and then you edit a price, it's going to change your return on investment, but you don't want it to kind of reposition itself in the order of the table. So we want to kind of let it sort of sit where it is until you deliberately reorder it again. We've got a really cool insight into your FBA history, your FBA inventory coming in. So let's say you've recently sent in a shipment of products and you've forgotten about what you sent in, but you want to reverse search them, where you'll be able to just reverse search basically the shipment that you sent in June 2017. Just go reverse search on that, and that way you can basically dig back into those old shipments and see if there's anything that's gone profitable again. That's being done as well. Anyway, there's lots happening. Some of this, what I just showed you then, will be released prior to me getting on that plane next Friday. I'm only going away for 2 weeks. As soon as I'm back, I continue working, and I'm working hard all through January, and we're going to just keep on rolling stuff out. I will release as much as I can of this, though, within the next week. And what else can I say? Quarter one, 2 key points, and I'm going to let Nate talk about quarter one for a bit while I leave the room for a second. But quarter one, 2 key points that I want to touch on is you still have a lot of momentum in January. You probably don't really start to see that drop off, that significant drop off, until sort of about halfway through January onwards. Starts to peter off. You still got a lot of momentum.
So like a lot of gift cards being redeemed and stuff like that.
And then what you would want to do is, let's say, for instance, you were buying, say, 12 of an item. You want to start going wider instead of deeper. No reason you can't keep selling as many units, just sell more ASINs. It means a bit more paperwork in your for selling multiple ASINs, different ASINs. But you can definitely keep that stock turning over for a while. And then you want to start thinking about seasonal things, like Valentine's Day is just around the corner, followed by Easter. You just got to keep riding the wave. I mean, Christmas is always going to be a big one. It's going to be massive. Yep. There's no doubt about it. But all through the year, there are events. And Yeah.
It's
What's your thinking?
it's just a good time to reinvest your profits from Q4, right? The biggest and most profitable Amazon sellers really reinvest really heavily, really quickly. They don't take a lot of profit. I know some of the mega sellers that I know take less than. I mean, they live very humbly while they're building their businesses. And if I know a lot of people want to start seeing the fruits of their labor and stuff. But I mean, if you don't need it, I mean, reinvest it. I think that to grow, you need that scale, and Q1 is the time to really lean into that revenue that you build up during Q4 and really turn it into to a better business that's easier to find products all year round by capitalizing on economies of scale. Another important thing to keep in mind is just that sales rank, when you're going back and you're looking at sales and the Keepa graphs from December, remember that those are from December. You have to adjust your expectations for sales velocities. So something that was selling 10, per day in December is going to be selling less than that going forward into, past the middle of January, right? So don't be fooled by some bloated numbers. Q1 is a great time, like Lim says, to reinvest, get that money in, get your processes in place. It's a time to train your employees. If you have a warehouse or if you're moving into a warehouse, get everything pristine and really running. You're going to be, sales will be down a little bit, but it doesn't mean there's no reason why you can't continue every month to be more and more profitable. It's hard to be as profitable in Q1 as you were in Q4, but you're going to have more capital if you did Q4 right. So, you just got to lean into it.
That said, I could still, even in the worst day of January, I could still find more than a Tactical Arbitrage subscription's worth in an hour's worth of searching than any day of the year, basically. It wouldn't matter what the day of the year was. Yeah. And if any wholesale guys are here who want to chime in, am I correct in saying that the very beginning of the year after Christmas is actually a good time for you to start building those relationships with wholesalers? I mean, they're also going to experience a bit of a drop-off in sales. It's about the time that they're going to want to start thinking about new connections as well. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Gift cards. A lot of people that got crappy gift cards, like, that their grandparents gave them, and they're like, oh, I don't shop at Barnes & Noble. Stuff like that. People will be selling those, and there should be some lower prices on gift cards.
Yeah, got to raise.com.
Yeah. So there'll be a bunch of that. What else can we say about Q1? I actually wrote a blog post if you want. I wrote it last Q4 or maybe 2 Q4s ago.
Yeah, when you post the replay, can you drop that blog post underneath it?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, guys, thank you all for coming. Alex, do you have anything else, man? We're keeping you from your lunch. I promised you an hour. It's been an hour and a half. As always, you are a great ambassador for the program. You always go above and beyond for everybody. We appreciate that.
Make sure if you're signing up to Tactical Arbitrage, please utilize the coupon code ER10 for an extended trial, for a 10-day trial instead of a 7-day trial. Gives you a lot of time to play around with things and features and get used to the software.
Yep. And if you guys want, you'll be getting an email from me with a replay. If you don't want future emails from me, just click unsubscribe. It's just one button. But other than that, guys, we've got some great stuff coming throughout the rest of the year. I'm excited for Alex to take his vacation. I wish I could be going with him. We couldn't, but hopefully soon we can get that family vacation like we had planned. And we've got a lot of great stuff coming up with Tactical Arbitrage and Amazon in general, man. I mean, Amazon has had is in the middle of their biggest Q4 ever. It's just a beautiful time to be an entrepreneur, to be an Amazon seller, and a Tactical Arbitrage user. So check your emails for the replay and for all of the discounts and links and stuff that we've been talking about throughout the show. Final words,
all right,
Alex?
guys. Thank you. Nice to see you all, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
All right, buddy. See you guys. Thanks for coming.